But wait! I can't believe my eyes. Can this be true? This is Antigone! I recognize her as clearly as I can see you. Her father's destiny was suffering and pain, and on all his progeny misfortunes and rain. Child, did you openly disobey the new king's orders and bury your brother? Do you have to manhandle her this way?
We saw it, actually burying the body. Caught in the act, as they say, red-handed, only it's not a him, it's a her. Where's the king?
Just returning now, when she's needed most.
What's all the noise? By the looks of things, I'm here not a moment too soon. What has happened?
Lord Creon, I reckon it's always unwise to swear oaths and make promises, even to yourself. Second thoughts 9 times out of 10 will have their say and end up calling you a liar. It's no time at all since I promised myself I wouldn't be seen dead here again. You were that angry with me the last time. A right mouthful you gave me, more than that, more than enough, thanks very much. But you can't bait a real turn-up for the book, can you? There's nothing more enjoyable than a good win when you're expecting a Townsing. So here I am again, as the comics said, and my promise is not worth the air you're spoken with. This girl's your criminal. We caught her doing it, actually setting the grave to rights. I brought her here, and there was no panic this time, I can tell you. No recriminations or drawing lots. This job was all mine. I caught her, and I claimed the credit for it. And now, she's all yours. Take her and accuse her. Stone her to death if you like. By all rights, I'm free to go and well shot of it.
Where did you arrest her? Tell me the details.
She was burying him. What else is there to say?
Are you out of your mind? Do you realize the implications of what you are saying?
Ma'am, she was burying the body. I saw her. The body you ordered not to be buried? I can't speak plainer than that.
Did you catch her in the act? Did you see her doing it?
Well, gentlemen, it was like this. As soon as I got back, remembering all those threats or promises you made me, we brushed all the earth off the naked body, which was all wet and beginning to decay by now. And we sat up on the ridge, well to the windward of the stink, and we kept a sharp eye on each other, ready to nudge anyone who dropped off and tear him off a strip too. For hours we sat there till about midday. The sun was smack overhead, blazing down, and the heat was something terrible, I can tell you. And then, it was as though a whirlwind blew up. Definitely a twister it was, but localized, and it raised up a dust storm which swept across the plain, tore all the leaves off the trees and blotted out the whole sky. And it completely blinded us. It seemed like some terrible manifestation of the gods, and you had to shut your eyes in order to endure it at all. And then, suddenly, it stopped. And when the air cleared, we opened our eyes and saw this girl standing there beside the grave and sort of wailing as though she were in pain, or maybe anger. Just as the bird who comes back to the nest and finds the eggs smashed or the fledglings gone. That's what it sounded like. She was standing there looking at the naked body and screaming and cursing the monsters who had done such a thing. Us, of course. And then she crouched down, picked up a few handfuls of dry dust and scattered it on him. She carried an urn, a small ceremonial bronze thing, and she poured from it 3 times on the dead body, honey and wine and stuff in it, I suppose. All the proper ritual for a funeral, anyway. Soon as we saw that, we came charging down and arrested her on the spot. She wasn't frightened or anything. She stood her ground, and then we formally charged her with the crime. This and the one before. She admitted she'd done them both. And we were relieved to hear that, I can tell you. But sorry, too, at the same time. It's very nice to get out of trouble yourself. Not so nice when you drop someone up to the neck in it. Someone you've got no quarrel with. But still, your own life comes first, I reckon. You have to look after number 1.
And you with your head down, what do you say to this accusation? Do you admit it? Are you guilty or not?
Yes, I'm guilty. I don't pretend otherwise.
You, soldier, get out. You're cleared of all charges against you and free to go back to your unit. Now tell me, a simple yes or no. Did you hear of my order forbidding the burial?
Of course I heard it. How could I not?
And yet you dared to disobey the law?
I think we have moral obligations to disobey unjust laws.
Yes, I did. Because it's your law, not the law of God. Natural justice, which is of all times and places, numinous, not material, quality of Zeus, not of kings, recognizes no such law. You're merely a man, mortal, like me, and laws you enact cannot overturn ancient moralities or common human decency. They speak the language of eternity, are not written down and never change. They are for today, yesterday, and all time. No one understands where they came from, but everyone recognizes their force. And no man's arrogance or power can make me disobey them. I'd rather suffer the disapproval and punishment of men than dishonor such ancient truths. I shall die, of course. Sometime, whether you make laws or not, if my death comes sooner rather than later, I shall welcome it. My life has been misery, is misery. Now I shall be more than happy to leave it. There will be no pain and no despair in that. But to leave my mother's son out there in the open, unburied, that would have been unendurable. I could not have borne it. Whereas this, I shall endure. By your judgment, of course, I'm a fool. But by mine, it's the judge, not the accused, who's behaving foolishly.
This is her father speaking. Stubborn like him, she won't give way, not even with the whole power of the state against her.
Well, we shall see. Any man can be broken, and often the most committed and determined break soonest. Even iron, you know, left lying in the fire too long becomes over-tempered and will snap as soon as a little pressure is applied. You can break it in pieces. And the wildest horse in the end submits to the bit and halter just like the rest. People without power, ordinary citizens, must necessarily obey those in authority over them. This woman is very proud. That was obvious in the first place when she broke the law, and is even clearer now. She glories in the crime she has committed, and insults me to my face, as well as ignoring my decree. If she is allowed to flout the law in this way, all authority in the state will collapse. I will not have that. There will be no exchanging of roles here, me playing the woman while she plays the king. She is my niece, my sister's child, but I am the law, and that responsibility is above kinship. Were she even closer, the closest, my own daughter, my duty would be plain. The law has its weapons, and they will strike at her, and her sister too, her accomplice, I've no doubt, in this illegal act, to the full extent of the punishment prescribed. The other one, Ismene, bring her here. I saw her in the corridor, talking to herself and sobbing emotionally like a mad woman. Guilty consciences, you see, can never be hidden completely. The human face reveals conspiracies before they are enacted again and again. But there is nothing more disgusting than the confessed criminal who tries to justify his actions as this woman has done here today.
What more do you want? Kill me and have done with it.
Nothing more than your death. That'll be enough.
Then what are you waiting for? Nothing you say will be the slightest interest to me. And my arguments you will not listen to. I've done what I said I'd do. I've buried my brother. I aspire to no greater honor, and if I am to be famous, let it be for that. All these senators of yours, they all agree with me in their hearts. But there is no gag like terror, is there, gentlemen? And tyrants must have their way, both in word and action. That's their privilege.
You are quite mistaken. None of the Thebans anywhere in this city think as you do.
They all do, but they keep their mouths shut when you're here.
Not at all. And you should be ashamed setting yourself up against the majority, disregarding the will of the people.
I love my brother. I honor him dead as I loved him living. There's no shame in that.
And the one he murdered? Wasn't he your brother?
My mother bore them both, and I loved them both.
If you honor one, you insult the other.
Neither of those dead men would say that.
Edicles would. His brother was a traitor. Does he merit no greater respect than that?
But he was not an animal. They both died together. They were both men.
Yes, and the one died defending his country while the other traitorously attacked it.
The dead have their rights, and we have our duties towards them, dictated by common decency.
And if good and bad are to be honored equally, where are our values? Patriotism, civic duty.
Death is another country. Such things may not be valued there. May even be crimes.
An enemy is still an enemy, dead or alive.
No, I was born with love enough to share. No hate for anyone.
Very well. Share your love by all means. Share it with the dead. I wish them well with it. Women must learn to obey as well as men. They can have no special treatment. Law is law, and will remain so while I am alive. And no woman will get the better of me.
Look, senators. Ismene weeping for her sister. Her face is raw with tears, flayed with misery. Her loveliness is scarred now. This disaster, it darkens her fair skin with premonitions and fears, and flushes her cheeks with anguish, not beauty.
And you, snake, slithering silently about my house to drink my blood in secret. Both of you the same. I looked the other way, and like terrorists, you laid undercover plans to destroy me. Well, do you too confess your complicity in this crime, or protest your innocence?
Yes, I confess. If she will allow me to say so. I was fully involved, and if she is guilty, so am I.
No, that isn't justice. When I asked you for help, you refused me, and so I told you I didn't want you. I'd do it alone.
But now that you're in danger, Antigone, I'm proud to stand beside you in the dock.
The dead man knows who buried him. What use are people who are all words and no action?
Please, my sister, don't despise me. Let me share the honor and die with you.
You've no right to claim the honor for doing what you were afraid to do. One death will be enough. Why should you die?
Because life without you won't be worth living.
Ask Creon to protect you. He is your uncle.
Do I deserve such contempt? Do you enjoy making fun of me? Sneering at my misery?
You're right. It's a reflection of my own pain, if such bitter pleasures are all I have left.
Let me help you then. It's not too late.
Save your own life. Do that for yourself without any criticism from me or envy.
For God's sake, Antigone, will you not allow me to even share my death with my sister?
No, I won't. You chose to live when I chose to die, and that's the end of it.
But I wasn't afraid to speak. I warned you that this would happen. I knew how it would be.
And most, the majority, would agree with you. But some would be of my opinion.
But we're both in the wrong, and both condemned.
No. You must live. I have been dead for a long time inwardly. I am well suited to pay honor to the dead, and die for it.
These women are neurotic lunatics, both of them. One of them going off her head before our eyes, the other one born unbalanced.
Well, are you surprised? Anyone would crack. The most tough-minded person under such treatment.
You lost your senses when you allowed yourself to be influenced by her lunacy.
There's no life for me here. Not without my sister.
Don't speak of her. She's as good as dead.
Will you kill the woman your son plans to marry?
There are other women. No lack of choice for a young man. Other fields to plow.
But they're devoted to each other. You can't change love as you change your clothes.
No son of mine can marry a criminal.
Oh, Haman, when you hear how your father insults you.
Let him hear. What does his mistress matter to me?
Lord Creon, you insult your own. They are formally betrothed. Will you tear the woman from your own son's arms?
Death parts all lovers sooner or later.
If that's how the land lies, the poor child's doomed. Her death warrant sealed and delivered.
By you, gentlemen, if you remember, as well by me. You heard the order, agreed it with me, if only by your silence. Did you not, before the criminal was known? We'll have no more shilly-shallying. Take them away, lock them up, and keep them under close guard. It's time they understood they are women, and their proper place in this society. There is nothing like the immediate threat of death to soften up their rhetoric and make them look reality in the face.
They can call themselves lucky. The fortunate few who live their lives through never drinking from the bitter cup of pain. But when one unlucky family incurs the gods' malignity, from generation to generation, they must swallow the bitter potion, again and then again. Just as rollers crash and the sea spray whips on an exposed beach, and the black clouds lower and the gale from the north screams through frozen lips, while the sea casts up from its depths a shower of pebbles on the shore, and the black sand from the chasms of ocean darken the strand, on every descendant of the ancient line of Labdacus, divine and merciless retribution falls. In the unremembered past, some unforgiving Olympian cast the weight of his vengeance on the whole race, so that agony, destruction, disgrace destroy son and daughter, and darken their halls with tragedy. The cold hands of the dead reach out for the living, and no one is spared. Another generation sheds its blood. New light is snuffed out. The young root bared for the same bloody axe. The characteristic sin of Oedipus, arrogance, brings its bleak harvest in. For Zeus is all-powerful. No man can match him. He never sleeps as man must sleep. And time, which leaves its mark on fair complexions and dark, can never engrave his face or dim the brightness of his palace where the gods keep their ageless court. At the utmost peak of sublime Olympus, Zeus is master there. And well did that wise man speak, who said that the past and future time he holds in his hand by right, and that those who climb in their greatness or wickedness beyond their permitted height, well, he brings to destruction and despair. But all men hope, and some have ambition. Far-ranging birds that never tire. Those wings bear some man steadily onward, but some, others aimlessly swoop and glide down to frivolous pastures, landscapes of obsession, pathways to disaster. and the merciless fire. And no man can claim to have understood hope or ambition until the flames burn under his feet, and the once solid wood of his life is reduced to its last condition, ashes and dust. A wise man said, from out of the depths of his inspiration, when a man commits crimes and is proud of the action, a flaming sword hangs over his head. No future but the grave and a funeral urn.